Welcome to Dark Horizon Creations. This time we're taking a look at the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Rebel U-Wing Starfighter by Jazzwares. Now, if you hadn't already, please follow, like, and subscribe to my social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get a notification of when I post new content. Alright guys, so today I've got a brief product review for all of you. This is the Micro Galaxy Squadron Target exclusive Rebel U-Wing from Rogue One. Now this U-Wing is part of Series 6. It's number 129 in the line. Packaging is nearly identical to the mass release version. It does have a different insert for the background. And of course you see the minifigs. It does include a U-Wing pilot and 3 Rebel troopers. I picked this up at an area Target. They actually had one case in and they had not put it out on the shelf yet, so I bought both of them, and one of them was actually messed up. The strike foils were warped, one of the engine nacelles was warped, one of the laser cannons was warped, and I could not fix any of it. I spent 4 days trying to fix it, and it actually broke when I tried to take the U-Wing apart. So, taking a look at the packaging, you've got your Micro Galaxy Squadron banner down at the bottom, Target exclusive sticker in the upper left. In the lower left, you can see your minifigs, the U-Wing pilot, and the 3 Rebel troopers. In the center, of course, you see the ship. There is a backdrop that is included that simulates the landscape of Scarif. On this side panel, got some really cool artwork from the Battle of Scarif. I do like that. That would make a really cool poster. On the back, you've got your obligatory product images of the features of the toy. In the lower left, you've got your blueprint cutout of the U-Wing. Alright, so here we have the U-Wing outside of the packaging. First and foremost, I do want to talk about the backdrop. You can see what it is. It's just a printed image of the beaches of Scarif. Alright, first and foremost, let's talk about the minifigs. I'll bring these guys in close so you can see the attention to detail. There's the U-Wing pilot, Rebel troopers. Nice paint applications on these figures. I do like this. I think that looks really cool. Alright, so let's talk about the U-Wing. Again, it's identical to the previously released version. If you haven't seen my product reviews of the other one, you can go back and watch those in more detail. I'm not going to do any kind of scale comparisons or anything with this ship because it would be redundant to do so. Really nice looking toy. I do like the paint scheme on it. They do a good job with the paint applications, the washes, and the weathering on these ships. You can see that the strike foils are not warped. The guns are not warped. All the way around, this is a really cool looking ship. They painted the engine exhaust. Nice gunmetal color back here. And if you're wondering what this round section is, I'm going to try to open the cockpit. That seems stuck on this one. Yeah, I don't want to force that. That is stuck. I don't know why. You guys can see it doesn't want to open. I don't know why that is, but I'm not going to risk breaking that to pop this off. Okay, this large round thing is not the engine. This is the fuel cell for the Tabana gas. That's what this is for. It's a magnetically sealed, highly pressurized container, and it has high pressure lines that go to each of these engines, and the engines have what is called a turbo injector in the front part of each of the engines that feeds the fuel in. It ignites the fuel. It has turbo impellers, which you can see the front part of here on each of the engines, and it sends the gases back where they are directed out of the exhaust nozzles for thrust. But this is where the Tabana gas is stored, the fuel tank for the ship, in other words. And while I had this open, you guys can see interior. It's identical to the other U-Wing for the troop bay, little clips to hold the figures, and of course the side hatches will pop open and they slide to the rear. You guys can see the M45D Roba heavy repeating blaster cannon in here. You can come around to this side and open this hatch as well. And if you aren't aware, on the hatches, this and this black section are both supposed to be viewports. That's obviously a cost-saving measure for Jazzwares not to put transparent plastic in there, but that's what they're supposed to be all the way around. And I don't see what is preventing the cockpit from opening, but you guys can see this. There's something there. So if you purchase one of these, you might want to inspect this and compare it to your other U-Wings to find out why this does not want to open, because you don't want to break that. I know on Hera's X-Wing, the forward landing gear is breaking. The first one I purchased, it broke because there's some extra plastic molded around it, and I don't know if that's the case here or not. Now the cockpit doesn't want to secure, so if something's going on there that's preventing that canopy from snapping down into place. And I don't see a reason why. I want to go ahead and close these so I don't inadvertently grab those. But there's something preventing it from pivoting. And I could be mistaken. I don't know if you guys can see this, but just in front of the control yokes for the pilots, there looks like some extra plastic molded in there maybe. So I'm not certain what's going on here, because this is the first time that I've opened the canopy on this one. It doesn't want to pop close. So let's pull out one of the other U-Wings and look at it and compare it and see what's going on. All right, so here's one of my other U-Wings, and you can see that the cannons on that one's warped. So on the cockpit, it should just open up like that. And there's no extra plastic molded on the Target exclusive one, because that's identical. This is what I was looking at and referring to. So it should just swing open and close on the hinge. But for whatever reason, this one's not doing that. So let me pull out a small flathead screwdriver, see if there's something. I can see that there's some scratch mark right here on the viewport. I don't know why, but this blue section should pivot down, and it doesn't want to. So I don't want to risk breaking this. I was going to put the pilot figure into the cockpit for you guys and put all the troops in there, but don't want to risk breaking it trying to do that. And I can't seem to. Okay, there it is. Now it's up. So something's going on here with this hinge, and you guys see this is transparent plastic. That's why I didn't want to force this, because you could easily break this, and you break it, that's it. You're not going to be able to repair that. Yeah, okay, here's what's going on. There is extra plastic in this mold for whatever reason, right here and right here. So you need to get one of those really small files and file that down on either side to relieve the pressure on this hinge, because if you don't, you could break it. So don't force it. Okay, so now that we've got the cockpit open safely, let's bring out the minifigs and see how they look inside the ship. And again, we'll start with the pilot. I do wish they would come out with troop builder packs for the action figures. Oh, that's really cool. I do like that. I think that is really awesome. I don't think the control yoke won't move any closer to where she's seated. And this is a female pilot. If you have the Rogue One visual guide, you can find her name in there. But there were a couple of U-Wings that were on Scarif. We saw this one get destroyed, but there's actually one that lands in the jungle that is not destroyed. So I'll pull this back, and it doesn't want to stay. It doesn't want to stay closed. Yeah, see it now. It's not wanting to open up, so I don't want to force that, guys. I just don't. But we'll pop the rear cover off again, and there's the minifigs for the Pathfinders. If you don't know anything about these guys, the visual guide calls them Special Forces. They are part of Alliance Special Operations. They're not the only Special Operations unit in the Alliance. They are not traditional spec forces like you see in Return of the Jedi on Endor. So if you're familiar with U.S. Army and military, if you guys know what civil affairs are and psychological operations, that's kind of like what the Pathfinders are. They deploy with special forces, but they're not special forces in the traditional sense. See, you can open side hatch up, put the door gun out, and minifigs will clip into these seats. And it's kind of hard to position him in here, just because that cockpit won't open up. I'm going to try to get one of them in just so you can see what it looks like. Yeah, okay. So you guys can see that one trooper's in there like that. You can see him visible there inside the troop bay. All right, so let me bring this light in here so you guys can see Rebel trooper in his seat inside the troop bay. Overall, this is a really awesome collectible and toy. I really like the attention to detail and the paint scheme that they've applied to this. The downside to the U-Wing and the Micro Galaxy Squadron are the quality control issues. Obviously, many collectors have purchased them with warp strike foils, warp guns, warp engines, and now with the Target exclusive version, you've got an issue going on with the canopy. That's something that Jazzware desperately needs to address. So there you have the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Rogue One U-Wing Starfighter by Jazzwares.